Victoria and South Australia's revamped hotel quarantine systems are set for their first big test today, with international flights returning to both Adelaide and Melbourne. A Sri Lankan Airlines plane landed in Melbourne just moments ago. It is the first international passenger flight since July, when the botched hotel quarantine scheme triggered that state's second wave. A newly formed agency will lead the program, with police providing security, but the Premier, Daniel Andrews, insists no system is free from risk.
A flight will also arrive in Adelaide this morning in what will be the first challenge for South Australia's overhauled scheme since the Parafield cluster was seeded from one of the city's Medi hotels. Reporter Rhett Burney is at Adelaide Airport and Steph Ferrier is in Melbourne. Good morning to both of you. Steph, the first plane has just come in. How's the state preparing to welcome these new arrivals?
Yes, good morning, Lisa. Well, UL 604 has just landed. As you can see, the Sri Lankan Airlines jet has just touched down at Melbourne Airport and has taxied to the gate now. The passengers on board will be greeted by ADF personnel. There's about 170 ADF workers that are going to be working on this reset quarantine program. They will be temperature checking them, and they've also been trained to be able to escort them to those hotels as well. Now, they'll go into immigration, do those checks, get their bags, and then we understand that there will be buses on the tarmac, so they'll go back down onto the tarmac, well away from the international arrivals who are here behind me, so nowhere near members of the public, and they'll be taken straight to those hotels. Now, we do know that unfortunately they aren't going to be able to get any fresh air or exercise breaks outside of their hotel rooms for the duration of their 14-day stay. After our deadly second wave, the Premier, Daniel Andrews, really says that they are going to leave absolutely nothing to chance, and while it isn't a completely fail-safe system, they're doing as much as possible by setting up this completely exclusive agency with very clear lines of accountability and with police being in charge of security as well. So that means that there are no security guards involved in this occasion.
There are more changes ahead for Victorians, some more freedom, Steph.
Yes, that's right. As we've already seen our 37th day of no new cases, we are actually seeing what the Premier is going to be calling a COVID-safe summer setting. So we actually have a raft of changes that are happening. As of today, masks are only going to be required in large, crowded spaces like supermarkets indoors, and here at the Melbourne Airport, of course. You will be able to have 30 visitors in your home and outdoor gatherings of up to 100 people. Density limits will now replace caps in pubs, restaurants and cafes, while the cap on numbers for funerals and weddings will also be removed. And importantly, we'll see 50% of workers returning to their offices on January the 11th, and 25% of public servants as well on the same day. So life returning a little bit to normal. There'll also be standing service at bars, so we'll be able to cheers this 2020 away with a beer or a stronger drink, perhaps.
Yes, and there are a few people down in Adelaide, Rhett, who are happy. The passengers have made it in for Christmas, but the journey's not over yet.
Not just yet. They've got another 14 days ahead of them before they actually get out of quarantine. Now, they haven't landed yet. We're about an hour away from Singapore Airlines flight landing. A couple of hundred people on board, and they'll go straight into the rejigged hotel quarantine for the 14 days. But they will be out on the 21st, which will give them a couple of days to perhaps get reunited with their family, and maybe even pick up a few Christmas presents as well. But it hasn't been a happy journey for them, that's for sure. There has been a lot going on. A number of international flights were cancelled to Adelaide after that Parafield cluster. So these passengers that are coming in today are literally getting in with the skin of their teeth, and many of them very thankful, you'd imagine, to get here just in time for Christmas.
Yes, because like Melbourne, the SA Medi Hotel program had to make some changes to try and stop another outbreak.
Yeah, it did. So we've seen the removal of security guards. They'll be replaced by South Australian Police as well as Protective Service members as well. And there'll also be a separate quarantine hotel set up for anyone that does test positive to COVID-19. Those people will be moved into that facility. It will be a dedicated facility. Now, health authorities will be watching this closely. Of course, that leakage from November was what caused that second outbreak that we saw that threw the state into lockdown for a number of days. So you can imagine health authorities will be also watching closely today. But many happy families only 14 days away now from seeing their loved ones.
All right, Rhett and Steph, thanks very much for the update.